Is there any district out there that's more wide open than District 13 2A, D1? So that district, of course, is Marlin, Crawford, Riesel, Rosebud-Lott, Bruceville-Eddy, and Moody. Going into this, is there even a clear favorite in this district? What do you think?
Cougars.
You're
The
going with
Cougars.
Rosebud-Lott. She's on the Rosebud-Lott train.
So far, from what I've seen from some of the other teams, they're the only team that I feel has been any sort of consistent
Mm,
through, the
mm.
non-district schedule. So, um, Crawford's a little beat up right now. Marlin, I feel, is still trying to figure out who they are this season under, this first year head coach and
And
just
God bless them, they still haven't played a true home game. I'll have a note about that in tomorrow's paper, but Legion Field they've had under construction for a while now, and they are hoping that for their final two home games, which I think is Riesel and maybe Rosebud-Lott, whatever their two final home games are, they're hoping to uh, to be actually in Marlin. They play in Robinson this Friday against Crawford for a quote unquote home game.
yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, that's really I haven't seen enough of Riesel to really know what they're capable of this season. I feel like a lot of time I'll get their stats or I'll look up their games and stuff, and it I don't really know what they're like right now, Obviously, they've kind of had some losses, struggled through some games. They're still a big, heavy like run first offense. Um, and they've got a pretty sound defense, but yeah, there's just not enough there for me to really form an opinion on them. And then, well, Bruceville-Eddy's kind of
Been
had
better.
some little,
They've
yeah, they're
been better.
better. Another first year head coach team. Same with Moody. I feel like they're kind of difficult to really say that really expect anything
To
from.
me, the Bruce Valetti Riesel game is huge for the Eagles if they're going to try to like slip into the playoffs. I don't see them as like contending for a district championship. Chad, who do you think's the favorite in this district?
Gosh, it's a really tough question. I mean, we picked Marlin to beat Crawford on Friday, and it is very hard not to look at that game, and think of it as some sort of a litmus test for the district favorite. But I mean, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I think you're probably right on the money with Rosebud-Lott. You just you kind of think in the back of your mind one of these days Crawford's going to pop up and beat Crawford, but then I've heard that they're really young and really small. So, uh, but the question is there any district more wide open than this one? Okay, maybe not because we can't see a favorite. We can't see a team where we think is going to be around November
It
1st
would
next year.
be if Rosebud-Lot wins it. I mean, I'd
Mm,
have to look this up, but it would be their first district championship in a while. I mean,
mm,
this is
mm.
not a place that the Cougars have been accustomed to being, which I think is why we're maybe like hesitant to completely elevate them. DJ's
Mm.
right; they're clearly the one that's playing the best, um, but. I mean, I'd have to look a little bit deeper at their schedule. Have they played anyone? I don't know. I mean,
Well, and I mean, they've got continuity at the head coaching position and been building, building something and kind of staying the course for a while. So those are all good ingredients for a program that's gonna elevate, like we talked about in the previous question.
mhm.
Um, I tell you, but when we talk about wide open districts, you know the Gatesville La Vega game is a key one. The China Spring Connolly game is a key one, and we all picked the only game we all picked the same team on in our picks was we all picked Robinson over Lorena, but that's probably not a guarantee, you
Sure.
know.
Certainly, Lorena's had more success in recent years than Robinson, and I'm sure will give, that's a fun rivalry in a lot of sports.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree. I think there's not a ton of separation between those teams. La Vega, I think we would all agree, is the favorite, whereas this other 2A district that we're talking about, we're struggling a little bit to come up with the favorite. I mean, we're leaning towards Rosebud-Lott, but I mean,
That's true. That's
I'm
true.
not going to necessarily be surprised if it ends up being Marlin. Or, I, I mean, I guess I'll be a little surprised if it's Crawford, but man,
Marlin kind of, I mean, they got enough guys left over from a team that was playing Thanksgiving weekend and beyond last year that, but the reports about Marlin from DJ are that they just don't have it together very well in terms of
yeah,
playing,
still kind of
sharp
figuring
football.
themselves out a little bit. So,
Like, I want to say that like I'm for certain, for sure, 100% like, oh, Marlin's gonna be the district champion, right?
Mm.
From what I know from last year, from what they've still got guys. Obviously,
yeah,
like you
I
said,
mean, they
they
got
still got the
Ty
key.
Bell, they got Bryce and Maxwell Steele, they got Caden Judy. I mean, they've got some dudes.
It's just like you would think that they themselves would go in, like from that West game, there didn't seem to be any confidence, right? Or certainty. And I'm just
Mm.
like, especially like they were down in the second half and it seemed like they just weren't sure of things. And that wasn't very reassuring.
Mm.
So
It's
we'll see how they turn
and
things
I
around.
do think we have to give uh, you know, we always applaud the first year coaches who come in and just tear it up right away. But one of the reasons we do that is because it's hard to do. There is
Mm.
some learning curve to all of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I think give Jeff Rogers some time. I think he'll be fine there at Marlin.